I'd like to talk a little bit about the settings necessary to set these openings for the face frame for drawers. So if I turn off the drawers, we have a face frame cabinet in this particular case. So we got an upper rail and a couple mid rails, and then we have to define these openings. So where we do that is in the settings under face frame. That's these drawer front heights down here. So we're actually specifying the drawer front heights minus the gaps. So in this case, if we look here, we have a 5.5 inch opening, but I know we're using 3 30-second gaps from another page. So that's why this setting is set to 5 5/16. So that's this one on top here is for when you just have a top drawer in a standard cabinet, so there is no other openings. So 5 5/16 is minus a 3 30-second gap on top and on the bottom of that opening. And that's we've got this setting for a 2-drawer bank, but if we look at this 3-drawer bank that I have here, I have the same 5 5/16 for the upper drawer. I have 9 3/16 here, because that's 9 3/8 opening, minus 3/16 is the gap top and bottom. And then on the bottom here, I've got 12 3/8, but that's only minus 1 gap. There's only a gap at the top here. I don't have a rail on the bottom. That comes to 12 9 30-seconds. So when you're what this green light over here means is everything adds up. In other words, this rail plus the front plus the gaps plus the rail plus the gaps and so on and down the line adds up to the height of the cabinet. So what happens if I change this, for example, to 8 and didn't change anything else? When I hit the update button, this is going to turn red and it's going to tell me I'm off by an inch. I need another inch added to something here. So if I go back and put this back to 9, hit update, I'm all good again. So my 4-drawer bank is in good shape. My 2-drawer bank is in good shape. So what this is a little helper to help you make sure. And so what CabWriter is doing in the background, it knows all these. It knows the width of your rails, it knows your gaps, it knows the height of your cabinet. So it's doing the math for you just to make sure that you put in numbers that make sense. You can, of course, put in numbers that don't make sense and draw it, but the cabinet will look kind of funny. So let's say I switch this to frameless. So let me just load a frameless file here. And let's go ahead and redraw this cabinet. There's a frameless cabinet. And now you can see we don't have the rails in there. So now we've got this gap on top to the underneath of the countertop. And where that is set is on the front page under General, Door Drawer Countertop Clearance. It really only applies in the case of frameless. So there's an 1/8 of an inch up there. I've still got 3 30-second gaps between my doors, but there's no rails in there. So if I go look at my settings for the openings, now again it's drawer front height. So now I've got a 6-inch drawer front height, and that's the actual drawer front is 6 inches. This drawer front is 10 15/16, and the bottom one's 13.5. I've got these gaps to take into account. So again, if I were to change this to 7 inches, for example, and hit update, I'm too big by 1. I got to take 1 inch away from something. In this case, it's this one. So you can just play around until you get things the way you like, and you get green lights. And that way, you know. I mean, you could of course change your gap sizes to compensate. You can change your rail sizes in the case of face frame, or you can change your cabinet height. You got to change something until you end up coming up green, or else your cabinet's going to look funny. So that's all there is to the drawer front heights.